Okay, so about Kangaroo Island, it's actually a project which has been a dream in my life, not especially on Kangaroo Island, but because I went to Australia 26 years ago, and as a trainee winemaker, and I fallen in love with that country, and I liked everything I saw over there. I enjoyed it very much. Came back to Australia every single year for the last 26 years. And always having in mind that one day I will put my foot in that country with an investment, which I've been able to do in 2000. And looking at where to grow grapes, I had a project in mind. I wanted to grow grapes in Cook Climate region. It had to be in South Australia because this is where I made most of my friends. And as well, it had to be a suitable place for growing Cabernet Franc. So I visited Kangaroo Island 3 years before and thought that it was certainly a very beautiful place, but as well a cool climate place where there's a potential for growing Bordeaux grapes, Bordeaux type grapes or Loire type grapes. And I investigated the island for a week, looking for the best suitable spot for growing grapes, and then found a farm in the middle of the island that I purchased and started to plant a vineyard, 10 hectares vineyard, with 7 different varieties, and to try a little bit of everything. But the main variety planted on that vineyard is Cabernet Franc. Then in 2004, my first vintage, I built a winery on site, and I've been able to test these grapes that I've been growing for the last 4 years, and with already a very promising result. I would say that really the routine was acquired the following year in 2005, and all the varieties have proved making wines extremely good quality. But definitely in that style that I was looking for, coming from France and being very used of drinking European wines, I wanted to walk away a little bit from the big styles that New World sometimes has been making, and blockbuster wines and very sweet and fat. And I've been trying to achieve on Kangaroo Island more European style of wines, with more refined, more elegant. And so I work from the vineyard with close spacing in the vineyard, very low yields, very high water stress, and I drive my grapes to produce very intense fruit character with very round tannins, but always natural acidity. I have never ever added any single gram of acid in my grapes. The viticulture is quite natural because on Kangaroo Island it's extremely windy, so we don't have to spray much, and maybe a couple of coppers and a couple of sulfurs to go through during the season. And the grass is mowed by the sheep in the early spring, and after the dry weather comes and the grass doesn't grow anymore. So this is, I would say, even more organic than an organic vineyard. I am not certified, and then in the winery, I use no produce at all. I just let the grapes fermenting with natural yeast. I always do my malolactic on skins, which means that I macerate on skins for at least 8 weeks, or more than 2 months sometimes. And then I press, I mix the pressings and the free run, and everything goes into barrel for 2 years. And after 2 years, and a bit before, I start to consider the wine and see the different blends that I want to make. And I blend with different varieties a little bit, and because I have these 7 varieties, and trying to make 3 wines mostly, a Cabernet Franc, as I say, which is a flagship, then a Grenache, Shiraz Viognier, which is always a majority of Grenache. It's important for me in that style, trying to make a Rhone Valley style, you see, but with a bit more fruit characters than what we get from over there. And as well, a Semillon, a white, which is a Semillon with a little bit of Viognier into it, trying to make a sort of Burgundy style wine with a Bordeaux variety, and complex, rich on the nose, but with some flint character and I would say some mineral character on the finish, thanks to the natural acidity. So these are the wines that I've been producing now for the last 6 years, and I must admit that every year the vineyard tend to confirm more and more this is a fabulous potential for making refined and elegant wines.
Perfect, thank you. Can you tell us where you get the names for the wines from, such as Wally White, The Investigator?
Alors, Kangaroo Island, before the last World War, was completely under tree, almost under scrub, and after the last World War, the Crown of England has started what we call a soldier settlement scheme. And they have the Crown of England has given to returning soldiers some land to start a farming activity, and Kangaroo Island was subdivided in blocks of 800 hectares, and some of these blocks have been given to some farmers, to some soldiers. It was in early 50s. And they had to clear the land themselves with some tools coming from the war, all the army tanks and army trucks, army cars or whatever they could use from that time. It was very difficult conditions, very, very hard, but these people have recreated what is Kangaroo Island today. They have cleared the land, they have created the farms, they have made the roads, and they suffered to death, and some of them actually died during this time working too hard, or they suicide, so difficult were the conditions. But they have really created Kangaroo Island. This is why I've decided to, as a tribute almost, to give to my wines names of some of these people and from that time. So O'Reilly was the man who organized this settlement on Kangaroo Island. He was, his name was called O'Rowland Hill, and his nickname was Old Rowley. And and Wally White was just a well-known person, Mr. White, but his nickname Wally, and was just a well-known person of that time, and I thought he fitted well for a white wine. Investigator, it's a bit different. It's a different story. I used something which is much further behind. This Investigator is the name of the ship that used Matthew Flinders to discover Kangaroo Island in 1802. So we're talking a long time ago and now. And but that name actually, I think, is for me. How to say, correspond to my philosophy and what I've been doing on Kangaroo Island, which is an investigation in a certain way, because there's few vineyards on Kangaroo Island, but no one is really producing high quality wines or tend to produce high quality wine, and has really done a real research on what is the best for the island. And me, I've really looked for a terroir before I bought the land, and I've really worked on the varieties and the way I'm growing these varieties, trying to make the best and I could as a wine on this island.
And where do you see things going for you in the next few years with the Islander project? What's your next goal to achieve, if you like?
First of all, every year you're doing more. I mean, because you start a project and you plant things, you plant varieties, or you make your wines in the winery. But you learn from them. You learn from the vineyard, and every year it's a lesson and something to learn that you might not do or do for the following year. As well in the winery, you see your wines evolving, you see them evolving in the bottle as well over the time, and then you take decisions which are changing what you have been doing certainly 5 years before. And so that's already one thing, is that I'm still in that phase of integrating a lot of details that every year are coming to my mind and telling me that I should do it, I should go further, or I should stop doing it. So these are little details, but this is a sort of work in progress, and I'm sure I can achieve year after year better quality in my wines. And but if not, in terms of style, I have my categories of wine: Investigator, I have the Grenache Shiraz Viognier, the Semillon, and the only thing which is changing a little bit is that the Semillon is getting better and better every year, and I use less and less Viognier finally within the blend, and in the near future we might not see any more Viognier into that blend, into that wine. Sorry.